Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Hello, Paulina.
Hi.
Before we get started, let me know, Paulina, if you have any questions based on what we discussed yesterday with regard to reported speech. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask them. You can either unmute your mic or yes, go ahead.
I saw that in the indirect, we have to put the verb at the end, right? In the questions.
For the indirect questions, the verb at the end, yes. For questions that are content questions, yes, that begin with how or why or when.
Okay, thank you.
Right. You're welcome. Hello, Nigeli, Marifer, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, Wendy, Angel, good afternoon. Caro, hello.
Hello.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started, guys. I want to give us enough time today to practice a little bit more the reported speech. Yesterday, we introduced the topic. We had an opportunity to practice a little bit. But today I want to offer some additional examples and again, trying to convert a direct question or a direct statement into an indirect statement or an indirect question. Of course, we can also say instead of indirect question, or we can say reported speech or reported question. Okay, usually indirect question is the most common, but you can also refer to it as reported speech when it's a declarative sentence, right? So what I'd like to do today is we're going to be in the chat in Zoom here. So if you haven't already, go ahead and open up the chat so that you can view the text. And let me open up mine a little bit larger here. All right, so I'm going to begin with an example. And many of the examples today is going to be like I am speaking and you're going to report what I say. So the sentence that I include here is something that I'm saying. All right, and we'll do some different examples, but I think most of the examples today will be me saying it and then you reporting it. So in this first example, before I share the example, we're going to think of this statement that I'm going to say as me saying it today, May 12th. All right, so in this example, what I would like for you to do is to convert this direct statement, right? I'd like for you to convert it to an indirect statement or reported speech, but as you were mentioning it tomorrow. All right, so I'm saying it today, and now you're going to report on it tomorrow to someone else. You're going to tell someone else what I said, but the next day, in this case, Wednesday, right? May 13th. Okay. So here's going to be the first example. And when you come up with your response, go ahead and type it out in the chat. And then I would ask not to send it until I give you a countdown so that we can all submit our answers all at once. Okay. All right. So here is the first example. All right. Here is the example. I am going to fly a kite today because there is little wind and there's a clear sky. Okay, so I said this today. How would you report this statement the following day? In this case, what would you tell someone else tomorrow, May 13th, on Wednesday, what I said today? Okay, I'll give you a few minutes. All right, let's see what we have here. We'll count down. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and enter your responses. We have 13 participants. Hopefully we have 13 responses. Feel free to upload, and even if you're not quite ready at this moment, go ahead and continue writing out your sentence and upload and share that with the group in the chat. Anybody have a response for this example? Again, remember, I am the speaker, right? And I'm saying I am going to fly a kite today because there is little wind and there's a clear sky. I said this today. I'm saying it today, Tuesday, May 12th, and you're going to report this tomorrow, telling someone else what I said today. What do you guys think? All right. So yesterday, Ben said that he flew a kite because there was little wind. There was little wind without the article is fine, and a clear sky. All right. Ben said that he was going to fly a kite yesterday because there was little wind and there was a clear sky. All right. All right. So here in this case, we have an example of putting the adverb of frequency at the beginning. Yesterday, that's fine. Or you could have it after the word kite in Wendy's example. That's fine too. Ben mentioned that he was going to fly a kite yesterday because there was little wind and there was a clear sky. That's a good notice Nigeli's version where she is actually using both. She's changing, he was going to fly a kite and there was little wind, changing the verbs in the past. All right, very good. And Ben was going to fly a kite yesterday because there was a little wind and there was a clear sky. Good. Benjamin told me that he flew a kite yesterday because there was little wind and there was a clear sky. Okay, Benjamin told me that he flew. All right, that's grammatically that's fine. It's a slightly different meaning, but it's grammatically correct. Okay, so that's a possibility, but it does change slightly the the meaning, right? Because in this case, this last example, Benjamin told me that he flew a kite, changes slightly that at the moment that I, in this case, mentioned it, I would have said that it would have been in the past probably, right? That here the idea was when you're reporting it, if I'm going to mention that I am going to do something, you probably want to keep and change it from the present continuous to the past continuous, that he was going to do something, just to not change the meaning of what, in this case, the speaker was going to do. In my case, right, what I was going to do that day. Yesterday, Ben told me that he was going to fly a kite because there was little wind and there was a clear sky, right? So one other thing in this particular example, be careful with the article and the word wind. There was little wind. There was a lot of wind, right? So we don't need the article in this case. Think of wind as kind of a collective or a non-countable noun. There was a lot of wind. There was little wind, okay? And then a sky, obviously we need an article. Very good. All right, so we have here, you'll notice that there are different versions, different correct answers here based on which pronoun we're going to use, where we're going to place the adverb. Okay, so we have some flexibility in the word order sometimes, and as well as the pronouns depending on the meaning of the statement. Very good. All righty, now let's look at our second example. Now, in this second example, again, I'm the speaker. I'm making this statement today, May 12th, Tuesday, and I would like for you to report on what I say, but in this case, instead of thinking of it tomorrow, you're actually going to report this next Tuesday. Okay, next Tuesday, May 19th, right? You're going to report a week later what I said today, and my statement today is the following. I cooked dinner today for my family. This is my statement. I'm making it today, May 12th. Now report on this statement. Tell someone else what I told you, but report on it next week, next Tuesday. All right. Let's see what you guys have. 3, 2, 1. Send it over. Ben, let's see. Where is it? All right. So Ben said that he cooked dinner for his family 1 week ago. Last week, Ben said that he would cook for his family. Ben said that he cooked or had cooked dinner for his family a week ago or last week. Okay. All right. So we have a couple of different options here, different variations. Last Tuesday, Ben told me that he had cooked dinner for his family. All right. So let's compare a couple of examples here. So we have, and if anyone else has another version, go ahead and share that. But let's take a look at, let's see. All right, so Ben said that he cooked. And I'm here making a few changes here. All right, let's take a look at these two examples. Last Tuesday, Ben told me that he cooked dinner for his family without the cooked dinner. Ben said that he had cooked dinner for his family last week. All right, notice the slight change in meaning. What's the difference in meaning between these two sentences? What do you think? And I should have taken the article out. He had cooked dinner for his family in the first sentence, right? Without the article. What's the difference between these two examples? What do you think as far as meaning goes? What do you think? And you guys feel free to unmute your mic if you want to speak. Of course, I always encourage you guys to do that. If you want to speak, go ahead.
Maybe if we say last week is not specific.
All right. So in the second example, all right, how would you taking that idea, how would you compare that with the first example? Last Tuesday, Ben told me that he had cooked dinner for his family. How do you understand both of those sentences? And does it mean something different? And if so, what's the difference in meaning? Anybody else have any ideas about the difference in meaning between these two statements? Any ideas? In the first example, last Tuesday, Ben told me that he cooked dinner for his family. We don't know precisely when Ben cooked dinner. All we know for sure is when he mentioned it. All right, we don't know for sure if he had cooked dinner that day on Tuesday, or maybe Ben cooked dinner on Monday and he was just now telling you about it. Okay, it's not sure, you're not really sure without more context. All right, maybe it was clear depending on the discourse based on the prior conversations, right? Maybe it's clear, but just by looking at this sentence all by itself, we don't know for sure. Whereas the second example, Ben said that he had cooked dinner for his family last week. Well, we know now more precisely, well, that he cooked last week. We still don't know which day. And we don't know for sure when Ben said it. So any other possible responses to clarify even more this reported speech, this example in terms of when it was said and when dinner was cooked? Any other opinions about the reported speech, how you might also state this? Grammatically, these are two sentences that are correct. but we also want to make sure we understand the different meanings between the different variations here that are possible. So any other possibilities, guys, trying to make this reported speech a little bit more specific in terms of when it was said, and in this case, when dinner was cooked. Any ideas? And go ahead and enter, go ahead and send your responses. If you have any responses, additional variations that might clarify both when the statement was said and when dinner was cooked. No? No ideas. It's very similar to the examples that we've already seen, but notice my example and the change here. Last Tuesday, Ben told me that he had cooked dinner for his family that evening. Okay, just simply by saying that evening, you could even said that day, that night, right? Just clarifies again when the dinner was prepared for his family. Okay, so that evening indicates exactly when dinner was cooked. All right. Notice also we changed the verb to had cooked from have cooked. Okay. We also want to change the verb to the past perfect. All right. Let's look at another example. Again, I'm going to be the speaker. I'm going to say this statement May 12th today on Tuesday. This time, I would like for you to think about you reporting what I say a month later. Okay, so again, today's May 12th. So June 12th, you're going to report what I say right here today. Here's the example. I've been studying, I have been studying Spanish for 3 years. Not studying. I have been studying Spanish for 3 years. I'll give you a moment or two. Now try to convert this to the reported speech. Again, you're going to report this a month later. Again, try to indicate when I say it, when I said this or made this statement, right? Watch your verb tenses and think about you reporting this statement 1 month later, next month. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Submit your response. What do you think? What do you think? How can you convert this to the reported speech? Last month, Ben said that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years, right? Very good. Be careful to capitalize Spanish. Be careful with ending punctuation. Very good. A month ago, Benjamin told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. That's also correct. Last Tuesday, May 12th, Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. Now, in that example, last Tuesday, usually we can only refer to like last Tuesday, last Wednesday, when it's within 1 week. So because we're reporting 1 month later, then we have to be careful with when we say last Tuesday, last Thursday, last whatever, because that only refers to within the last week. All right, so you could say last month, as we saw earlier, could say that. You could say on May 12th, right? You could say that. On May 12th, Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. A month ago, Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. Last month, Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. All acceptable responses. Very good. Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. Be careful with 3 year. Let's see, 3 years. Okay, let me say this again. Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years 1 month ago. All right, what I would do is I probably would put the adverb 1 month ago. I would put that at the beginning. Here in this case, 1 month ago, putting that at the end of the sentence is a little awkward. I probably would just, I would say 1 month ago, comma, Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. Okay. You just want to probably put the time a little bit closer to what Ben told me, because again, it refers to when Ben made the statement. Last month, Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. All right, very good. All right, very good. So not too many issues with that. Just be careful with the verb. I think everyone correctly changed. Let's see, had been studying. Ben told me that he had been studying. So be careful with the verb. In this case, which verb tense are we using in the reported speech version of this example? Which version do you think? Which verb tense are we using in this example? The past perfect continuous. Yes, exactly. Exactly. All right. So be careful with the verb tenses. Ben told me that he had had been studying Spanish, right, for 3 years. So remember, when do we use the past perfect continuous? Well, remember there has to be 2 things going on in the past, right? So in this particular example, 2 things happened in the past. Well, one was the act of studying Spanish. That was something that happened in the past. And the second thing that happened in the past was that Ben made the statement, right? So 2 things happened. Which happened first? Did Ben make the statement or was he studying Spanish first? What do you think? Which happened first between those 2 events in the past? What do you think? Of those 2 events, which event happened first? Ben making the statement in the past or Ben studying Spanish? What do you think, guys? Any ideas? Two things happened in the past in this example. Ben told me that he had been studying Spanish for 3 years. Which happened first? Did Ben make that statement first, or did he study Spanish, or was he studying Spanish first?
He was studying Spanish first.
He was studying Spanish first, right? So Ben was studying Spanish first, and then later in the past, he said something. He told somebody that he was studying Spanish. So we use the past perfect continuous, just like the past perfect, to indicate that something happened before something else in the past. Two things happened in the past. We use the past perfect continuous to express that first event that happened before something else. Very good. Now let's take a look at another example. Now this example is going to be a little bit different. Let me type it out here. All right, now in this case, we have a different speaker. So this is not me speaking, this is someone else, and you'll be able to tell who the speaker is by looking at the example. Now, the statement was made by this person today, May 12th. You're going to report on what this person said a week later, next Tuesday, May 19th, okay? So you're going to report this next week. Here's the example. Mom yelled, "Clean your room." So mom yelled this today, May 12th, 2020. Now you're going to report this. You're going to tell someone else what mom said, what mom yelled. You're going to report this 1 week later. What do you think? Remember to indicate when mom yelled this. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What do you think? How can you convert this to a reported speech? Mom yelled, "Clean your room." You're going to report this now 1 week later. Last Tuesday, my mom told me that I had to clean my room. Okay, that is an option, right? It's grammatically correct, and it certainly is the option. My question would be, though, are you exactly converting it from the original direct statement, or the direct sentence? That would be my question. All right. Last Tuesday, mom yelled. What do we need between yelled and me? I like that option. Okay, but you need something between the word yelled and me. Last Tuesday, my mom yelled me. Okay, what do we need between yelled? Or something about this verb, and what do we need after yelled? Yesterday, my mom yelled me. Right, exactly. So we could say, yesterday, my mom yelled at me to clean my room. I kind of like that version a little bit better. because it really expresses really the heart and soul of the original statement. How would you change this? How could you change this? Let's say that it's your mom and you have 8 brothers and sisters, and she's screaming, she's looking at all 8 of you or 9 of you, and she's screaming, clean your rooms, and she puts an S at the end of that. How would that change your response? How would you change the reported speech? She says, clean your rooms. And let's say you all have your own rooms. How would you state that? Last Tuesday, my mom yelled at us to clean our rooms. Exactly. Very good. So we would change the pronoun, right? And just be careful with the yelled. They yelled at us. So and so yelled at us. You can yell at someone else, right? If you get angry, you might yell at your brother, your sister, right? Very good. Easy peasy, twice as cheesy. Let's look at the next example. Here we have a different speaker. All right, here we go. So let's say, all right, so the speaker is going to make this statement, or this question actually, today, May 12th, and you're going to report this next month, 1 month later. Okay, so you're going to report this 1 month later, and here's your example. Dad asked, can you take out the trash, please? So now you're going to report on what Dad said today, May 12th. You're going to report what he said next month. Next month, June 12th. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Send your responses. What do you think? Dad asked, can you take out the trash, please? Last month, Dad asked me if I could take out the trash. A month ago, my dad asked if I could take out the trash. What about the word please? And this is one thing, in fact, tomorrow we'll be looking at your specific examples from last week. But when you guys are converting direct speech to indirect speech, try as best you can to include all the words to get that full meaning. And in this case, a very important word, please, is included in the direct form of the statement. So you need to also try to include the word please in your reported speech equivalent. So how would you include the word please in this example? Last month, my dad asked me if I could take out the trash. Okay. Those are all fine, but what about the word please? Last month, my dad asked us if we could please take out the trash, period. Very good. That sounds good. Anybody else? Dad asked me if I could take out the trash. Those are fine, except for the omission of the word please. All right. Think about how you could include please in your example. Any other examples or any other versions or ways that we could include please in this reported speech example? Is there another version? Instead of last month, my dad asked us if we could please take out the trash. That's one way. Is there another way? A month ago, my dad asked me as a favor that if I could take out the trash. I think I would say my dad asked, I would take out 4. My dad asked, please, if I could. All right. Probably I would put please later on if I could please take out the trash. A month ago, my dad asked, yeah. So it's going to be, look again at this example here. Let me see if I can copy this. Last month, my dad asked us if we could please take out the trash. All right. This is one way that we could do it. All right. Last month, my dad asked if we could please take out the trash. Now, what's another way that we could state this and still use the word please and try to avoid if in this other version? This one that I just shared is perfectly acceptable. It's fine. But there's another way that where we don't need the word if. With a lot of these examples, there are different ways that we can do it. We still need to be careful with certain word order, but many times there are different ways depending on either the meaning or just there are just different options here. Any other ideas about an alternative to last month? My dad asked us if we could please take out the trash. Right. Last month, my dad asked us to please take out the trash. That's what I was getting after. That's correct. Last month, my dad asked me to please take out the trash. Very good. That's also an option. Depends on if dad's talking to you as an individual or to you collectively to include maybe your siblings. Very good. So those are two different ways that you could write that out. Excellent. All right, let's take a look at another option here. All right, so I'm going to go back to myself here as the speaker. All right, so I'm going to make this statement today on May 12th, and next week, right, next Tuesday, you're going to report on what I say today. So here is the example. I will be traveling to Europe in the fall. Okay, so I'm the speaker. Report on what I said today next week, next Tuesday. All righty. Let's see what you got. 3, 2, 1. A week ago, Ben told me that he would be traveling to Europe in the fall. Good. Last Tuesday, Ben said he would be traveling to Europe in the fall. Very good. A week ago, Ben told me that he will be traveling to Europe in the fall. All right. So notice here we've got a couple of options. We can say last Tuesday. That's all fine because it's within a week. We can also say a week ago, Ben told me. That's fine. All right. So you have some options there. But take a look at the verb tense. Notice that when I state the direct version, the direct speech version, I'm using I will, right? So I say I will be traveling to Europe in the fall. Notice most of you are changing it will to would correctly, right? That's what we need to try to do is to change the auxiliary. Ben told me that he would be traveling to Europe to indicate past, even though it's indicating the future because it's a reported speech. We need to change the modal will to would. A week ago, Benjamin told me that he would be traveling to Europe in the fall. Correct. So notice that in the prior example, we changed, I think it was can to could, right? In this example, we're changing will to would. All right, so be careful with the changing of the modals in this case when you're writing out reported speech. Here we have a couple of examples depending. A week ago is fine, or last Tuesday. A week ago, Benjamin told me that he would be traveling. Right. Okay, very good. All right. So I think, guys, we're going to sum it up here for today. Tomorrow, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask that you share again your direct questions from your interview from last week. And also, I would like to see the indirect questions from your direct questions that you included in your paragraph. I'd like to see both forms, the direct version and the indirect question side by side. And tomorrow we're going to do an activity in class where you can share those two. I'd like for you to go back, if you haven't already, to take another look to make sure that the indirect version of the question is exactly the same meaning of the original version, the direct version that you included in your wiki. All right, and we'll take a look at those tomorrow, and we'll also tomorrow begin talking about our next concept, fact versus opinion. We'll start looking at that and we'll start to begin our activities related to that topic. All right, guys, any final questions regarding any of the examples that we saw today or even yesterday regarding reported speech? Any questions? Hopefully these examples are helping. Make sure that that you're checking out the recordings if you need to revert back to anything that we discuss. Of course, if you have any questions outside of class, always send me an email or a chat, I should say, in Microsoft Teams. And if there's anything that you want me to review or cover in class, also send me a message. You can either post in Microsoft Teams under the post forum or, of course, via the chat. All right, guys, we'll stop there for today, and we'll see all of you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.